Obviously everybody wants to fight on that card. And that's a good thing because we're going to put on the best card we've ever done for that White House event.
So once again, Baldy White decided to lie in front of our faces by overhyping a card that he had no business calling the greatest card of all time. But still though, alright, I'm not going to completely trash this event. It's overall decent. It's certainly better than UFC 326. And if this were just announced as a regular pay-per-view, I wouldn't be trashing this card. If anything, I would call this one of the better cards of the year. But because Baldy White decided to put some actual effort into promoting this White House event just to shit out this, I'm a little bit disappointed, and I feel like a lot of people are as well. Alright, but regardless though, I'm going to be covering every single fight that was announced. Hopefully we get more fights than this. Like, I feel like 6 fights, these are good 6 fights-ish, but first off, they could have been way better in my opinion. And also, I don't know, just for 6 fights of this, like, I feel like it's a little bit lackluster, but yeah, I'm gonna break down every single fight that the UFC put on the White House, alright, starting with the first fight, all the way up to the main event, which we'll talk about later. So without wasting any more time, let's jump right into the video. Okay, so we're starting off with Diego Lopes versus Steve Garcia. This is actually a great fight. Props to the matchmakers for making this. Steve Garcia, it's been a very long time, right? He's been down the rankings for a while now, and I feel like he's justified for deserving a top 5 opponent in Diego Lopes, because Garcia's been starching out nearly everybody he's been fighting just outside of the top 5 of the featherweight division. Alright, he hasn't really fought any true marquee name, so this is a good test for him. Whereas Diego Lopes, he needs to give an opportunity to an upcoming contender, because he just lost another title fight to Alexander Volkanovski. So I'm very interested to see how this fight plays out, especially stylistically, considering how dangerous Steve Garcia is on the feet. But then again, I don't think Garcia's really fought anybody who has like the iron chin of Diego Lopes, as well as the really high-level grappling. So this is a very interesting fight. I do think for now Diego Lopes wins, because even though he lost to Alexander Volkanovski twice, I do believe there's a big difference between Diego Lopes and the guys Steve Garcia has been just ransacking through. Although Melquiz Alcosta, it is a good aging win. I feel like Melquiz Alcosta has leveled up a lot since he fought Steve Garcia, and also the fact that Garcia, like, I don't think he's gonna easily KO Diego Lopes like what happened to David Onama. I am gonna have to study more tape for this when the time comes, but I am kind of leaning towards Diego Lopes just because of his experience. We had a similar feeling like what happened to John Silva, and I don't think Steve Garcia is nearly as slick as John Silva, although I would say that he has a lot more power. But then again, though, his grappling hasn't been tested either, so there are a lot of questions regarding Steve Garcia's game. Is he top 5 caliber or not? Alright, that's ultimately the question here. So for now, I'm going to go with Diego Lopes, but my opinion might change when the time comes. We all needed Bo Nickal versus Kyle Daukaus. We all wanted to see this on the White House lawn. Now listen, I understand that Bo Nickal's definitely going to be included on the White House card, right? Because Bo Nickal's whole personality is just glazing Donald Trump and Charlie Kirk for some reason. But the thing is, we could have gotten a better matchup than Kyle Daukaus, and it's not because I don't like Kyle Daukaus. It's just like, if you are going to put Bo Nickal in there, I feel like there could have been a much more enticing matchup. Like, off the top of my head, I think of Ikram Aliskerov, which is a very approachable fight considering how easily Ikram Aliskerov gasses out past the first round, and also he is pretty chinny considering Robert Whittaker was able to drop him multiple times and make him do the Irish jig. But yeah, Bo Nickal, while I did expect him to be on the White House card, alright, like, I don't really care for him, to be honest, but still though, I am kind of leaning towards Kyle Daukaus right now. Like, call me crazy, this could age horribly, just like my previous video about Bo Nickal versus Rodolfo Vieira. Bo Nickal completely schooled him. I don't know why I thought Rodolfo Vieira had a chance. But either way, though, I don't know. Maybe I'm putting too much faith into the Michelle Pereira win and the GM3 win, but I just don't think Bo Nickal's ranked caliber. All right, whereas Kyle Daukaus, it's like he slept out Michelle Pereira in the first round. I think Bo Nickal would go to a very iffy decision with current day Michelle Pereira, which is not a great look. So yeah, Bo Nickal, I could just be underestimating him again. I am gonna have to study tape for this once more. But either way, though, I am slightly leaning towards a Kyle Daukaus crafty underdog pick. But I understand why a lot of people are picking Bo Nickal. You know, the UFC want Bo Nickal to try and get into the rankings. They're giving him a quote-unquote favorable stylistic matchup with Kyle Daukaus, who primarily likes to grapple. But I do believe that Kyle Daukaus has more pop in his shots. So maybe Kyle Daukaus doesn't even need a grapple in this fight. And Bo Nickal's going to slow down as the fight progresses. And unlike Adolfo Vieira, Kyle Daukaus, can actually threaten Bo Nickal with some strikes. But yeah, still though, I understand why Bo Nickal's a favorite coming into this fight. But do not be shocked if Kyle Daukaus wins, because yes, he beat Adolfo Vieira, but I don't think Bo Nickal is the next coming of the Daniel Cormier or any sort of superstar American wrestler, if you will. But yeah, I understand why Bo Nickal is the favorite for now. I don't even need a study tape for this. Mauricio Ruffy is going to publicly execute Michael Chandler on the White House lawn. They might even cut off the footage here. All right, like that's how badly Mauricio Ruffy will flatline Michael Chandler. Like, here's the thing about Michael Chandler. How do you pick Michael Chandler to win a fight after you watched him get absolutely schooled by Paddy Pimblett, dominated by Charles Oliveira? Fair enough, he had a competitive fight with Dustin Poirier, but like realistically, how do you pick current day Michael Chandler? Like, it just doesn't make sense in my opinion. Now, I will say this, though. Chandler might have a wrestling advantage, but let's be honest here, when's the last time Chandler really used it? And even if he can take down Mauricio Ruffy, Chandler's going to do some retarded shit. You know he's going to slam down Mauricio Ruffy over and over again rather than holding dominant position. And then Mauricio Ruffy's eventually going to be able to get back up to his feet and proceed to piece the fuck out of Michael Chandler's face. Yeah, I just can't pick Chandler to win a fight, like, ever. And especially against someone who's actually good in Mauricio Ruffy. It's kind of funny, though, because Michael Chandler was asking for a Conor McGregor matchup, red panty night. Instead, he got the Brazilian version, which he's not even going to get a lot of money for this. He's probably just going to be stretched out of the White House, face flat on the canvas. And this fight's probably going to take years off Michael Chandler's life, unfortunately. So yeah, though, Mauricio Ruffy should publicly execute Michael Chandler. I would say that this is even more of a guarantee for Mauricio Ruffy to KO Michael Chandler than for Ilia Topuria to KO Justin Gaethje. Because at least Gaethje, who we'll talk about in later on in the video, at least he's good. Whereas I can't even say that for Michael Chandler. So yeah, Mauricio Ruffy should flatline Michael Chandler in the first or second round. It's gonna be hilarious because, it is Michael Chandler. And in hindsight, like, how do you get dominated by Paddy Pimblett for 3 straight rounds on the feet? But yeah, though, Mauricio Ruffy should beat the fuck out of Michael Chandler because Michael Chandler is awful at the end of the day. Now, I understand why Sean O'Malley is going to be fighting on the White House lawn, all right? The UFC love him. He took relatively no damage in this fight with Song Yadong, and Sean O'Malley was calling for a fight at the White House. But my problem with this fight, however, is that it's not Corey Sandhagen, all right? It is instead Aieman Zahabi. Seeing Aieman Zahabi on the White House lawn is like finding a polar bear in Arlington, Texas. Like, what are we doing here, UFC? We clearly had the Corey Sandhagen matchup for us at hand, but instead we gone completely 180 and decided to just give Aieman Zahabi an opportunity to fight at the White House. As for the matchup itself, though, this should be pretty easy for Sean O'Malley. I do think that Sean O'Malley is the much better striker. It's like the problem is that Aieman Zahabi, if he had some sort of grappling game that he's been able to show us, maybe it'd be interesting. But he doesn't really do that. And the way he strikes on the feet, it's not like he's very aggressive. He just picks his shots on the outside very well. He gets dropped a lot in his fights, like against washed Jose Aldo and Cheeto Vera in 2025, which isn't the greatest look. I just think that Sean O'Malley's going to be so much faster than Aieman Zahabi that it's not even going to be competitive. Like, maybe Aieman Zahabi grits through as the fight progresses, but realistically, though, this is a very easy stylistic matchup for Sean O'Malley, and the UFC probably made this matchup thinking that Sean O'Malley is going to lose to, anybody who's actually, like, top 5 caliber in the bantamweight division. But either way, though, Sugar Sean O'Malley, Aieman Zahabi, I think this is a pretty clear decision to pick Sugar Sean O'Malley. All right, maybe I'll watch an Aieman Zahabi fight, even though I struggle to do so because a lot of Aieman Zahabi fights, they're not really fun to watch. But I will still watch tape for this. Maybe my opinion changes on this, but I'm most likely going to pick Sugar Sean O'Malley to at least 30-27 Aieman Zahabi. Like, this should be a clear decision win. Maybe a TKO in the later rounds, like, by volume, but at least a pretty one-sided dominant victory for Sean O'Malley, because I don't think Aieman Zahabi is going to be able to match Sugar Sean O'Malley's speed, and I haven't really seen any sort of grappling out of Aieman Zahabi throughout his entire UFC career. So yeah, I'm picking Sugar Sean O'Malley to win this fight. Now, this is a great co-main event to this card, all right? Alex Pereira will be fighting Ciryl Gane at the White House for the interim heavyweight belt. The winner of this fight, will probably fight Tom Aspinall for the undisputed belt next. And overall, I think this is a very good matchup considering the stylistic matchup. Like, Ciryl Gane, he's a heavy kickboxer, and he's going to be fighting one of the greatest kickboxers in UFC history in Alex Pereira. Now, I do think that Alex Pereira should win this fight. I think that his technique, his speed, his power, it's all greater than Ciryl Gane, which normally isn't the case. Ciryl Gane's always been known as the loosey-goosey, nimble cat in the heavyweight division who has a lot of technique and flair. But in this situation, Poatan, I think he's not going to get speed-mogged like all of the unathletic heavyweights in this division. And on the feet, though, you could say that Ciryl Gane can survive and make it a boringest decision. But at some point, I will say that Alex Pereira will chin Ciryl Gane. I don't think Ciryl Gane is used to fighting someone as fast as he is. And Alex Pereira is as fast as Ciryl Gane, in my opinion. Maybe a little bit slower, but I don't know. Ciryl Gane's just so used to fighting unathletic blobs that I feel like this is going to be a big shocker for him. You also got to consider the technique difference as well. Alex Pereira, he is an elite level kickboxer for a reason. He's very capable of setting shots up, and I don't think Ciryl Gane's really used to that. Tom Aspinall, I do love him, but I don't think his technique is as high as I rated it as before. Tom Aspinall is dangerous, but compared to Alex Pereira, I wouldn't call Tom Aspinall a striking savant, to say the least. But still, though, Alex Pereira should beat Ciryl Gane. Maybe Ciryl Gane outlast Alex Pereira to the later rounds, but at some point, I just think the left hook of doom will chin Ciryl Gane, and Alex Pereira might consider himself the first 3-weight champion of the UFC. Yeah, so the main event between Ilia Topuria versus Justin Gaethje, let's be honest here, I feel like everybody who's watching this video knows what's gonna happen. Ilia Topuria is going to flatline Justin Gaethje within the first 2 rounds, alright? Maybe Justin Gaethje puts up a crafty leg kick decision in the first, but eventually Topuria will land, and he will chin Justin Gaethje flatlined on the canvas. Because, let's be realistic, how is Justin Gaethje going to win this fight? Alright? Ilia Topuria is the much sharper boxer, and that's Justin Gaethje's whole gimmick. He's the technical boxer with a lot of power in his hands. Ilia Topuria outclasses him in that, and it's not like Justin Gaethje really has a grappling option here, because Topuria, I believe, is also the better grappler, alright? And it's not like Justin Gaethje really grapples in any of his fights, but I feel like this is the first time that Gaethje is going to have to rely on that, because the longer this stands on the feet, Ilia Topuria will have more opportunities to land flush on Justin Gaethje's chin. Like, in hindsight, flatlining Charles Oliveira in the first round with 2 punches is absolutely insane. And I don't think Gaethje has the technical skills like that compared to Ilia Topuria. Also, it's also the power. Like, you would think, oh, Ilia Topuria, he's moving up from featherweight to lightweight, and he doesn't hit hard like the lightweights do. No. He hits way harder than the lightweights that we had over the last couple of years because, again, nobody flatlines Charles Oliveira with 2 shots in the first round. So unfortunately for Justin Gaethje, I just don't know how he's gonna win this fight. Like, even if this goes to the later rounds, like, eventually Topuria is going to catch him. All right, the only way Justin Gaethje is going to win this fight is if he somehow avoids the combinations for 5 rounds straight. I don't think Justin Gaethje has the technical defense to avoid Ilia Topuria's shots for 5 rounds straight without having to resort to a heavy grappling game plan, which I do believe he's also outclassed in that area. So yeah, unfortunately for Justin Gaethje, Ilia Topuria will slime him out at the White House lawn. It's going to be very awkward considering that the UFC needed an American to headline the White House event. And unfortunately, the American in this situation, I don't think has any chance to beating Ilia Topuria, which it is a kind of a darn shame. Alright, that's going to be it for this video. If you guys want to see more videos like this, please make sure to like and subscribe so we can monetize this channel. Leave a comment down below how you guys feel about this White House card, because overall, I'm going to say it is overhyped and mid, but it's not complete trash. Alright, it is better than some of the pay-per-views that we've been getting lately, so it's better than nothing. Alright, but yeah, leave a comment down below what you guys think, as well as any other video suggestions you have for me. But outside of that, like and subscribe, and I will see you guys next time. Peace.